You already know what you're supposed to do today. You've known since yesterday, maybe longer, and yet here you are, not doing it, with the very specific feeling that tomorrow is when it will finally happen. Tomorrow you'll start the thing. Tomorrow you'll send the email. Tomorrow you'll deal with it properly. And the strangest part is that tomorrow never actually arrives. It just becomes today. And today, apparently, is not the right time either. Here is what most people get wrong about this. They think procrastination is a time management problem. If they just had a better planner, a tighter schedule, the right productivity app, it would stop. But decades of research tell a completely different story. Procrastination is not a problem with managing time. It is a problem with managing emotions. What you are actually doing when you say, "I'll do it tomorrow," is not choosing to be lazy. You are choosing to avoid something that makes you feel bad right now, and trading that discomfort for a feeling of relief that is immediate, real, and completely convincing. The task is still there, but for this moment, it is not your problem, and that relief is genuinely pleasant. That is what makes it so hard to stop. In 2013, researcher Sirois and Pychyl published findings that reframed how psychologists understand this pattern. They found that chronic procrastinators do not have a different relationship with time, they have a different relationship with negative emotion. When facing a task that triggers anxiety, boredom, self-doubt, or frustration, the procrastinating brain prioritizes mood repair above everything else. Not completion, not consequence, mood repair first. And here is where it gets interesting. The brain is not wrong to do this. Avoiding discomfort is a completely rational short-term strategy. The problem is that the brain is borrowing against the future to pay for comfort now. The task does not disappear. It waits, and it comes back heavier, now carrying the added weight of guilt, self-criticism, and the knowledge that you have already delayed it once. There is something else happening underneath this that most people never connect. Research consistently shows that procrastination is strongly linked to perfectionism, but not in the way most people assume. It is not that perfectionists delay because they want everything to be flawless. It is that starting something imperfect feels genuinely threatening to how they see themselves. If the work is not good, neither are they. So not starting becomes a form of protection. An unstarted task cannot be judged. An unfinished draft cannot fail. Psychologist Noam Chomsky describes this as the protection paradox. The very behavior that feels like it is keeping you safe is quietly eroding the thing it claims to protect. Every avoided task becomes a small piece of evidence the brain files away, building a case that you are someone who does not follow through. You were trying to protect your self-image. You were building a case against it. So think about what this means for every time you called yourself lazy, every time you promised yourself this week would be different and it wasn't, every time you watched the deadline get closer and felt that strange paralysis, knowing you needed to move and being completely unable to. You were not broken. You were not disciplined. You were running a very understandable emotional protection system that prioritized how you felt right now over what you needed tomorrow. The problem was never your character. The problem was a strategy, one your brain adopted because at some point it worked, and one it never got around to updating. Understanding this changes what you actually need to do about it, because if procrastination is emotional, then discipline is not the answer. Willpower is not the answer. Telling yourself to just get on with it has never been the answer, and now you know why. What actually helps is making the start so small that there is no emotion left to avoid. Not do the whole thing, but open the document. Not fix everything, but write one sentence. Researchers call this temptation bundling and implementation intentions. The language is academic. The idea is simple. You are not fighting the emotion. You are removing the moment where it gets to vote. Because once you have started, genuinely started, not planned to start, the emotional resistance almost always drops. The thing is never as threatening as it sits on tomorrow's list. Tomorrow has been waiting long enough, and you already know what you need to do. If this felt familiar, subscribe.